Everybody, it's Ashley over at the Dickinson County Nature Center. And animals are really cool. They can do some really cool and sometimes kind of strange things. So, for example, did you guys know that a gecko uses its tongue to clean its eyes? And a grizzly bear's bite is so strong that it can crush a bowling ball. That's crazy, right? A bowling ball. But sometimes when it comes to these cool facts that we know about animals, there can be a little bit of a gray area. So sometimes we get some myths, and we're not sure if these myths are true or if they're false. So I thought it would be fun for us to do some animal myth busters. So we're going to talk about some of our animals, our more common animals that we have here in the area, and then some myths that surround them. So to start off with, our first animal for our animal mythbusters, we have a toad here. So this is our Great Plains toad that we have here at the Dickinson County Nature Center. And so the myth that we're going to talk about with this guy is toads, if you touch them, they give you warts. So they give you warts on your hands if you touch a toad. So what do you guys think? Do you think that's true or do you think that's false? I touch this guy, I'm going to get warts on my hands now because I touched him. So that is false. That is a false myth. That is not true. You will not get warts from touching a toad. So yes, these toads have bumps on their skin and they kind of look like warts, but they're not contagious. Warts are caused by a virus and they are not caused by toads, so you will not get warts from touching toads. However, they do secrete a toxin, so it is really important that you wash your hands anytime that you catch toads or anytime that you handle a toad. So always wash your hands because they do have a little bit of a toxin on them. All right, so now that we've debunked that myth, let's talk about another one. So the next one is that toads are poisonous. What do you guys think? Do you think that's true or false? Toads are poisonous. So that one actually is true. Toads are poisonous, but they're not poisonous in the sense that if I touch them, I will get that poison. It's not a like skin to skin contact. What it is if you were to eat a toad or consume them in some way, which luckily for humans, we don't usually have toads as part of our diet. So it's not something that we have to worry about. But for other animals that try to eat a toad, it is something that they have to worry about. So these toads, they have these, they're called parotoid glands right here behind their eyes, and that's going to secrete a bufotoxin. So these toads are well protected that if an animal tries to eat them, they can secrete this poison, they can secrete this toxin, and it'll make them taste bad and it'll actually harm their predator. So it might help them escape and help them get away. So like I said, they're not dangerous for humans as far as that skin-to-skin contact, but if any of you guys have dogs at home, please be careful if you're ever in a toad habitat area. So any kind of wetland area or maybe like just a forest floor, any toad habitat, because if a dog does get the toad in its mouth and it secretes that bufotoxin, it can be dangerous for dogs. So just something to keep in mind to try to keep toads away from your dogs if at all possible. But yes, so they are poisonous. That's kind of a cool fact. All right, our next myth that we're going to see if it's true or false is that wild-caught toads make really good pets. What do you guys think? Do you think you should go in the wild and get a toad and keep it as your pet? Do you think that's a good idea? Think they'll be a good pet? What do you think? True or false? So that one, false. Wild-caught toads do not make good pets. I know it may seem that way because as far as pets go, toads are very low maintenance and pretty easy. You know, they don't require too much. They have a pretty easy food source. It's easy to find food for them. They're pretty low maintenance, but you want to make sure that if you are interested in getting a pet toad that you get it from like a reputable pet store and not just taking them from the wild, because toads spend their whole lives in one specific area, and they only leave that area about 1 to 2 times a year for breeding. So if you take a toad and you take it out of that area, it can cause some damage to that toad's like well-being, and that you won't have a happy toad. You're going to have a sad toad, and that can cause some actual health decline as well as in your toads. So you want to just leave toads in nature where they are. And if you happen to take a toad and you happen to keep it for a little longer than, a few minutes for observation, the most important thing you can do is when you release that toad back into nature, you want to release it exactly where you found it. That's very important. So exactly where you found it, because like I said, toads spend all their time in just one specific area. So if I take a toad here and I release it, in Nebraska, that toad's going to be really sad and it won't know where to go. It's like if I, found myself in Montana and I had no way of knowing where I was or how to get home. That wouldn't make me very happy, and it wouldn't make my toad very happy. So we're going to leave toads exactly where they are. But that concludes our myth busting. So just as a refresher, remember, toads do not give you warts. They are poisonous, but they don't, at least wild caught toads don't make good pets. And I'll show you guys my toad one last time. I believe this one is Wally or Wallace. So thank you, Wally, for helping us debunk some myths about you.